Live from WTOC, the Southeast news leader. The News Now starts on WTOC Plus.
Well, happy Friday. Thanks for joining us here for the news on WTOC Plus. It's a very special day here in the hostess city. A couple of really exciting events. Joined now with Andrew Gordon. Andrew, we've got the greening of the fountain and the greening of the city. I decided to finally wear a tie on WTOC Plus. I know.
Yeah, it's a good day. Great day for me because I don't have to tell people they're going to get rained on.
Good. That's what we like to hear.
That's usually, high pressure times forecasting for weddings and St. Patrick's Day events.
Yeah.
That's when the money's made, as they say. But yeah, we've got great weather today, so it makes it easy. Greening out the fountain, there's your forecast. Popping on your screen consistently, we've been showing those upper 70s in the forecast at noon, lower 80s this afternoon. South side of Savannah right now, you can see the flag is flying. That helped disperse that fog this morning. Once the sun came up, the wind started going. We've got nice conditions into the afternoon, already to 78 in the Savannah area, 79 Beaufort, and we're going to see those temperatures go up into the low to mid 80s for inland areas today. Typically, your average high is 69, so way above that here. Something we're going to be saying for days, really probably through Thursday of next week. We'll get into that extended forecast in a minute. After school, though, 80s turning to 70s, probably about 5, 6 o'clock. We continue to cool. Date night tonight, dinner plans, or you're just going to be hanging out at the house like me. 60s by 8 o'clock in the evening. Looking at your weekend forecast, good time to get outside. A few spotty showers possible, more so Sunday versus Saturday. Sunday also looks a little bit warmer, and of course at that point we're doing the time change, springing forward into your Sunday mornings. Don't forget that. 7-day forecast on your screen now shows mid-80s Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, rain chance has been relatively consistent in the long-range data, suggesting a front comes in then and kind of cools us down closer to average on Friday. So we'll have to watch it. Maybe we get a little cooler for the events next weekend. Saturday afternoon, you've got the Hilton Head parade there. Saturday's Tybee, Sunday's Hilton Head. It usually rains for one of them. Right now, a little too far for me to venture a forecast for that. But,
Sure.
The grass is starting to green. Neighbors watering their yards. Very odd for March, but at least it looks like we'll cool down a little bit in about a week's time.
I'll take it. I know we've got a number of folks from our morning team doing the Tybee Island Parade as well.
Yep, I'll be there. It's
Sweet.
Always fun. It's a little less, how do I say this? It's a little more free than the Savannah one, which is great. It's just like the Super Bowl of parades, whereas Tybee is just, it's Tybee. Like, it's relaxed. It's fun. Like, kids come up, you can hang things out. You can talk to somebody for 2 minutes and be like, actually, I need to go catch up with everybody else. And if you do that in Savannah, you kind of get run over because there are so many parades. Or people in the parades. But it's cool. I hear for Tybee, a band from Orlando or
Orlando, yeah. A 100-piece high school band with Irish roots from Orlando's coming up, yeah.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
The more the merrier. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about watching the parade. I might be on the sidelines. If you see me, you better hand me some candy.
We'll give you something. We just can't legally accept alcohol
Shame.
during the parade.
Okay.
I've
Not even
seen,
Irish whiskey?
the little ring bottles are usually handed out. The green Jello shots are usually handed out. We've had people put beer on our floats before, and we just have to be like, we'll work. Another time, perhaps.
Shoot, maybe I'll volunteer then. Maybe I'll walk with y'all. All right, Andrew, thanks for joining us here on Plus. Glad to hear it's going to be a good day if you want to check out either of the greenings this afternoon. All right, well, we're going to continue with our top stories here on WTOC Plus. We have an update just into our newsroom about the overnight shooting on Congress Street. We now know that shooting happened during a fight. Savannah police are investigating after a man was shot. Officers responded to the scene on the 100 block of Congress Street around 2:30 this morning for reports of a fight in progress. Officers heard gunshots and found bullet damage to buildings and an unoccupied car. That's according to a press release we got from the SPD department just about 10 minutes ago. Officers say that later, an adult man arrived at a nearby hospital with a non-life-threatening gunshot wound to his arm. The investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers at 912-234-2020, or you could submit an anonymous tip through the SPD mobile app. Well, turning now to national news, it's the first major shakeup of President Trump's second term. Yesterday, he fired DHS Secretary Kristi Noem after a year in the office. CBS's Jared Hill has a closer look at what White House sources are saying led up to this. Take a look.
Just 20 minutes before Kristi Noem took the stage in Nashville.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you?
Introduced as Secretary of Homeland Security, President Trump posted on social media a change in her role, moving Noem to Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas. It's the first major staffing shakeup of Trump's second term. An administration source tells CBS News replacing Noem was, quote, based on the culmination of her many unfortunate leadership failures. Among them, the fallout over how she falsely described the actions of 2 Americans killed by immigration officers in Minneapolis earlier this year.
It was an act of domestic terrorism.
She's a living, breathing article of impeachment in terms of the abuse of power and the corruption.
Sources also cite this series of ads.
I'm Kristi Noem.
Starring Noem and clocking in at $220 million. Some of that money went to a company run by the husband of Noem's former spokesperson, all raising eyebrows for even some Republicans during her Senate hearing this week.
Correct.
Did the president know
Worked
you
with
were going to do
OMB.
this?
Yes.
He did.
But President Trump said to Reuters, I never knew anything about it.
The president, when he called me Tuesday night, the night of the hearing, when he was mad as a murder hornet, he asked me what I thought about Mark Twain.
That's Mark Wayne Mullen, the junior senator from Oklahoma, a former rancher and MMA fighter.
We're going to get Department of Homeland Security making sure that we stay focused on protecting the homeland.
Now President Trump's nominee to take over DHS. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Well, from the nation's capital to the state capital, today is crossover day for Georgia. This means that bills have until the end of the day to pass in their starting chamber if they haven't already. Today, lawmakers will be scrambling to get their bills from one chamber to the other before tonight's deadline. Multiple bills, including one about data centers and property taxes, failed to pass this week. 2 bills regarding data centers didn't make the cut yesterday. One ensures data centers pay for the grid upgrades they drive. The other would require a dedicated advocate to fight for ratepayers when it comes to rate increases. The bills do still have an opportunity to be revived today. One of the biggest fights still in play is property taxes. The constitutional amendment that would cut some homeowners' bills by as much as 75% failed to pass in the House on Tuesday. However, House Majority Leader Chuck Estefarian says they'll bring it back as a bill, which only needs a simple majority.
My heart goes out to, just as an example, elderly residents who live in my district are unable to pay their property tax bills that continue to go up year after year.
Any bills that don't make tonight's deadline will lose the opportunity to be passed during this legislative session.
My heart goes out to...
Well, lawmakers at the state capitol celebrated Tourism Day this week, highlighting the industry's growing impact across the Peach State. Governor Brian Kemp says the state now ranks 5th in the United States for domestic travel, with tax revenue from tourism continuing to climb. State leaders were even presented with a check for $5.1 billion, which represents the amount of state and local tax revenue generated by tourism in 2024. Now, new numbers from the state show nearly 175 million people visited Georgia in that year, spending more than $45 billion while they were in Georgia. Tourism is Georgia's second largest industry behind agriculture, and businesses in downtown Atlanta say they rely heavily on those visitor dollars.
When the conventions are downtown or people come in for conferences and they're walking around downtown during breaks, they stop in and look at our vinyl, and sometimes, most of the time, they purchase something. The more people that come downtown, the more that they'll want to explore, and then that'll bring in, more business for us, all of us down here, actually.
And, of course, we should also note Georgia is set to host the World Cup this summer, and a lot of businesses, especially in Atlanta, we've been hearing about it in Savannah as well, are preparing with a pretty heavy influx of tourism expected to come from folks really all over the world for the World Cup. All right, well, Chatham County ranks 6th in the state and 2nd outside of Atlanta in reported cases of minor sex trafficking. That's according to nonprofit Theros Place, which helps survivors of human trafficking. The organization held a stakeholder meeting yesterday at Savannah Tech to help people learn the impact that human trafficking has locally, as well as how to detect signs. It allows people to connect with groups that have the same goal. The Chatham County Sheriff's Office used the meeting to share information about several recent human trafficking unit arrests.
We have a lot of people who are just giving us information. We have our investigators to go out and get leads and, verify this information. And it's leading to a lot of things. It's working pretty good for us, and it's pretty good for the Chatham County community.
And Theros Place is planning on hosting its next meeting this year in either Bryan or Liberty County. All right, get ready to spring forward as daylight savings time starts this Sunday. The time change could take a toll on your health. Michelle Durup with Cleveland Clinic says this time shift can lead to a rise in cardiovascular events and sleep disruptions impacting your mood.
What makes club?
We have a lot.
Apologize, we don't have the soundbite queued up for that. But Durup says, essentially paraphrasing what that doctor was saying, prepare before the time by gradually adjusting your bedtime and wake time. It's also key to maximize your light exposure in the morning. All right, well, an iconic Savannah nightclub will be moving to a new spot. Club One announced their official relocation from Jefferson Street to 301 Williamson Street. The gay bar opened its doors in 1988, becoming a staple in Savannah's LGBTQ community. The new location is only one street over from their current location. The venue says this move is in conjunction with their new relationship with the Pride Holdings Group family. After decades of use, the club's manager says it's time for an update.
What makes Club One, apart from the customers, is our programming, our burlesque shows, our cabaret shows, our comedy shows, our theater shows. Those are all here to stay.
And the new location may be familiar to some locals,
what
it's
makes
the
Club
former
One
home of Elan, which is the performance and event venue that closed back in November of 2024. All right, well, here's something to do. Spring is in the air in Savannah, and the city's Bee Initiative is buzzing with excitement for the weekend. Bee City Savannah is teaming up with the Forsyth Farmers Market to host the Pollinator Palooza Spring Festival. That's happening tomorrow at the park from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The free, family-friendly event celebrates the tiny heroes helping support our local ecosystems and put food on our tables. They'll be building bee hotels, painting pots, and learning to plant for pollinators, a nature-inspired Pilates session as well, and more. It's all about getting up close with these pollinators, which inspires people to become lifelong advocates. And finally, happening in under an hour, we have the annual greening of the fountain in Forsyth Park to kick off the St. Patrick's season. The St. Patrick's Day Parade Grand Marshal will be there, and the winner of the coloring contest, 6th grader Margaret Tootle, will help with the greening effort. You can watch the event live today right here on WTOC Plus. It'll be part of our noon broadcast, and then we will have extended coverage at 12:30 as well, right here on WTOC Plus. Again, I broke out the green tie for it. I never wear a tie for these shows, but I figured, hey, it's a special occasion. We've got the greening of the fountain at noon, and then the greening of the city tonight at 7 o'clock. We'll have a very special edition of The News at 7 as we really get into the full swing of St. Patrick's season. All right, with that, we're going to wrap things up here for The News on WTOC Plus. Thanks for joining us this morning. Again, we'll be back in 45 minutes for the greening of the fountain ceremony, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, you can always check our website for the latest updates. But we'd like to thank you all for watching, and here's Local News Live.